Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nishant, editor of Tagma Times magazine, and your host for today's session. On behalf of Tagma Management, I welcome you all and our today's guest, Mr. Virendra Singh Bhadauria, Deputy General Manager Projects at Hero MotoCorp Ltd, to the 12th edition of Tool Talk. So as we all know that when we talk about the manufacturing industry in almost all the field, be it automotive, machine tool, materials, die mold, China is leader in production and consumption both, but not in two-wheeler. Two-wheeler is the only industry where India is a global leader. Within India, the sector almost contributes about 7% of our manufacturing GDP. Indian two-wheeler producers have more than 25 million units of installed production capacity. And with the new entrants such as EV startups and a lot of global companies setting up base here in India, it is definitely going to grow in further. And to talk about all these things, we have Mr. Viren joining us from Hero MotoCorp. Mr. Viren, welcome you.
Thank you, Nishant, for inviting me on this occasion. Yeah. And thanks to all the participants who have joined this session. I think, Nishant, it's a very good initiative to bring all the, industry experts, or you can say the automotive experts on the same platform and sharing their thoughts and every month. Thanks for organizing
Yes, it's
this.
mutual for, yeah. Now I would like to invite Mr. Shanmuga Sundram, Vice President of Tagma India, to introduce Mr. Virendra Singh Bhadauria.
Good evening, all the viewers, and I welcome Mr. Virendra Singh Bhadauria to the session. Virendra Singh Bhadauria is currently working as Deputy General Manager Projects at Hero MotoCorp Ltd. He has done post-diploma in plastic molds design, SIPET, Ahmedabad, and PGD in General Management, Emeritus Institute of Management, Singapore. Mr. Bhadauria is working at Hero MotoCorp since 1999 and heading the development of body parts, lighting, capacity expansions, and new infra development. It's nice to have you for this evening Tool Talk. Please, let's open the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, to the audience, if you have any questions for Mr. Bhadauria, you can post it in the chat box, which is there in the left corner. That Mr. Bhadauria will answer, address at the end of our conversation. So, shall we start, Mr. Bhadauria?
Yeah, please. You're welcome.
Sure. So, Mr. Viren, so to set the tone of the session, I would request you to share your opinion on the emerging trends in the global, two-wheeler industry versus the Indian two-wheeler industry, and how it is going to impact the component manufacturers.
Yeah, what I understand, India is the leading country as far as the two-wheelers are concerned. We have the most stringent emission norms BS6 in place. And from next year, 1st April 2023, we are also going to implement the OBD2 norms, which will help user to know the abnormalities in the machine, if any, by indicators. So the two-wheelers are going to be more and more smarter day by day with the use of electronics, sensors, and software contents. These things are going to be increased. Right. The trend of connected two-wheelers are emerging. So it's a more technological advancement. It's not only for the commuting, it's a fun riding the new kind of two-wheelers, wherein you will have all the controls of two-wheeler on your mobile phone. So these kind of technologies are emerging, and I am very happy to share that India is one of the leading country to implement all these new things and new technologies. EV is a new major entrant in this segment, and almost all the two-wheeler OEMs have entered or going to enter soon in this segment. So, and apart from the existing two-wheeler companies, you must have seen the new companies have also entered into because of the technological advancement, and they see the future in the two-wheelers. So it's very good to have a good competition. And apart from this, I can also see the government is also pushing for different, technological advancements in this industry. They have very much expectation from two-wheeler industries. So the alternate fuel, use of alternate fuel is the next, which this government is pushing. So soon, in this industry will, taking that also as a challenge. Then what I see apart from this technological advancement, the lot many big bikers, the off-road trends has started. I see lot many bike rallies are there. New biker clubs are emerging. OEMs are promoting these biker clubs. So earlier we were used to be a two-wheeler in commuting segment, but nowadays people are buying the motorcycle for the adventures. So this new generation is emerging, and so the two-wheeler industries are also gearing up to cater this new market and all. So this is about the brief about the two-wheeler, how we are emerging and we are changing ourselves.
Right, right. So thanks for charting out, the trends that are shaping up in the Indian two-wheeler industry. And as we know that all these trends that you said will also bring in a lot of changes in the component development and the tool development, right? So with all these trends, seeing how it is going to impact the components and the tool makers. So what are your expectations from the tool makers?
See, if you ask me, definitely the changes are happening very frequently. The overall product life cycle is, going down. So every year you see lot many changes, lot many new two-wheelers are coming, lot many changes are there. So I can see it's a very bright, for as far as two-wheeler parts suppliers or component suppliers and the tooling industries are concerned. They are going to have very good time because because of this localization and Atmanirbhar Bharat and also Make in India. Most of the OEMs are trying to get everything done locally in India. So I can see the two-wheeler auto components and also the tooling industries is going to be a very bright future. They will be, of course, they will be getting more and more challenges also, challenges in terms of deliveries and cost.
Right, right. So what do you expect in such scenario from your tool makers? How should they align themselves with the changes that is happening in the user industry like two-wheeler industry?
See, as far as from the tool makers are concerned, what I feel that our Indian tool makers, they have to be technically they have to be very competitive. We have all world-class machineries, world-class softwares, but the skill set, what I feel is lacking in our tooling industries. And the skill set which we get from the foreign tool makers, that is to is the next level. So we have to train our manpower. We have to generate more skilled manpower in this field, so that they can adopt the changes. They can support this two-wheeler automotive industries by providing the excellent product one time. In the first go, it should be okay. So that is the thing. Otherwise, we have all the machineries, we have all the softwares, latest softwares. The skill set is one thing which I can feel we are lacking as far as tooling is concerned.
Right, right, right. And you, in between and during the trend, you also spoke about the electric vehicle. And we all know that electric vehicle is the kind of the biggest game changer in the automotive industry. And specifically in the two-wheeler industry, it is getting to the mainstream level before, we can even see that it is happening. So it is happening faster than the four-wheeler industry. So how that trend will have impact on the component suppliers?
I think there are a lot many new designs are going to come. Industry is changing. They're adopting the electric way, going to be electric, and they're adopting the new technologies. So these changes definitely will lead to the new designs, and
Right.
then respectively new tool makings, of course. So the tooling industries and the component industries, as I mentioned earlier also, they are the one who will be on the front for the supplies and all. They will be the they will be the leaders to support this two-wheeler industries as far as the component supplies are concerned. The implementation of new designs are there. So I can see a lot many things are going to come soon in front of the tooling industries and also to the automotive component suppliers.
Right. So, as you also spoke about the BS6 norms. So after, transition from BS4 to BS6, there was a surge in tooling demand. So in such scenario, what next is on the card when what tool makers can expect from the tooling, from the automotive industry? Any changes that might result in a bigger business for them?
The BS6 transition period was, I should say, very good for the tool makers.
Right,
Though it was related to the emissions, but OEM took it as a chance to refresh their model as well.
right, right,
So, and this is ever changing world, everything to be in the process of transforming
right,
into better version of itself. So as we can see, we all can see that automotive industries are focusing more on EV segment, which will lead to the new design requirement, and then that there will again be a boom in the future of future business scope of the tool makers. So
right,
which I can see. Maybe because of recently most of the OEMs have launched their new products, and so there is a little break in between, but soon starting from this year onwards, tooling industry will see further boom because of this because EV will have totally different styling and all different requirements. The engines will not be there, so definitely all the body components and the smart lighting still going to come. So this will definitely have a positive impact on the tooling suppliers, on the part suppliers.
right, right.
I can see the bright future for them.
That's nice to know. Nice to know. So at Hero, what percent of your tooling requirement is met by the domestic tool makers, and how much is imported at the moment?
Frankly speaking, people who knows me, who are there in this conversation, if you ask me, we are able to meet our 100% tooling supplies locally as far as the bigger body parts are concerned.
Right.
So now as a competition, we have bring those domestic tool makers to the level of overseas tool makers as well. So for us now it's a open competition.
Okay.
It's not domestic versus imported, because the imported these overseas suppliers, they have also bring down their cost drastically because of might be low business and all. But as far as Hero is concerned, I think we for body parts definitely 100% we have localized everything. And for lighting is one area wherein I would like to challenge. I would like to give the challenge to the domestic tool makers that this is one area wherein India is far behind than the overseas supplier. Still, maximum, I should say 90 to 95% lighting tool industry tooling, we are dependent on the overseas suppliers. So this is one major potential area wherein the Indian tool makers can look into. They can explore the possibility of making the lighting tools in India itself.
Right, right. That's nice to know. So, for certain products you work with overseas suppliers, like lighting, you said. So, what are your key observations while working with the overseas suppliers and with the Indian suppliers?
If you ask me, domestic suppliers, they have a very limited skilled manpower. Expertise lying with them for the tool manufacturing. Uh, if I compare with the overseas supplier, definitely we are a little at lower side. because I have seen the tooling experts over there working. They're working, their working process, and they're so handful to the tools, and their knowledge is far better than our domestic competitors. Though we have reached to a certain level, it's not like that our industry is doing fantastically. That's why we are able to do the 100% localization. But still, we have to go beyond this level. I want that our Indian tool maker, they should be recognized globally. The way we used to export the toolings from countries like Korea, Taiwan, China, and Japan. So I want that our industry should be capable enough to export the toolings in these countries. So here the skill set need to be enhanced. Second thing, what personally I feel, skilled manpower. The moment of skilled manpower is too high. A person works in a tool room for 1 or 2 years, then they think they are the experts and they start changing the jobs. So this moment we need to stop. This industry need to be, expert. Once you are expert, then it's very difficult to lose the experts from the industries. And once these experts they go out of the industry, then again the tool room has to retrain the people up to bring up to that level. So here I have also one suggestion that we should make our tool rooms more and more smarter by using the artificial intelligence, by using the machine learning programs, so that the dependency on the manpower can be bring to the minimizing level.
Right. So the agenda you said that you want to see India as a tooling powerhouse is same for the TAGMA as well, and they have been working hard to empower Indian tool makers. So that's nice to know that there is support
Very
from the
good.
tool industry as well. So my next question is, like, in automotive industry or be it in any industry, working with right partner is very important. So what are the key evaluation factors of any automotive OEMs, or for that matter at Hero MotoCorp, to finalize any tool room before any project? So what you look into particular tool room before you select them for your projects?
Yeah, very good question. I think first we look for the technical competency. The tool maker should have the deep understanding of the product,
Right.
mold design, and also the manufacturing techniques. So that is the first criteria. Then second is commitment. We would like to work with the tool maker who adhere to the commitments. So once the
Right.
dates are given, then commit. Then third, I feel is the cost, because as I mentioned, the product life cycle has gone down. So every year we have to change the products. And this particular tools, the dies and molds are concerned, they are made for that particular exclusive requirements. Once they are made, they cannot produce any different different part or different product. They are not like a machine which can be used or utilized for a different purpose. So that's why the cost, I always insist on the cost. We have to find the ways and means, or we have to upgrade ourselves so that we can control the tooling cost. Because this is the cost which I think most of the OEM management they talked about. Because this is one exclusive investment. If a model doesn't work well, it's redundant and it's a huge investment. So people
Right.
who knows me, I have been pushing them to work on how to reduce the cost. We have no scope, or we should not have any room for any rejections, of reworking and all these things, because this rework rejection did took away our profits.
Okay.
So we have to improve upon that.
Right. So technical capabilities, delivery timeline, cost are some of the factors that you look into.
Yes.
You have been also talking about the skill set of the Indian tool makers. So according to you, what can be done to enhance the skill level of the Indian tool makers? What role user industry like Hero MotoCorp can play in hand holding the tool makers in uplifting their own knowledge?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think this is a kind of a specialization job. It's not a normal job which any industry or any company can do. So we have to produce like artisans. We have to produce like a skilled worker. We have to train them, and as far as Indian mentality is concerned, we need to develop the dedicated people for this industry.
Right, right,
So and we have to find the means and ways to train them, to retain them,
right.
and so that they should understand the in and out of what they are doing. Until unless they do not feel the importance of their job, I think they will not able to do the justice with that. Simply, if some machining hours has been spent on a particular job on a particular block, and then when it's come to the fitting, and then this manual intervention comes, and sometimes they spoil the job also.
Okay.
So that sensitivity we need to bring to our experts, so that they should feel that yes, whatever work they are doing, that is important, very important,
Right.
and respectable. And we can seek support from the some external experts also. And OEM like us should also give our inputs, to enhance their capabilities, proper feedbacks to them, and what went wrong and how the things can be done much better to meet to meet the product requirement as well as the tooling requirement also. So I think we have been doing with our tool maker like this, wherever we work, to whom we work as a partner with the tool makers. It's not like that we ordered tools to the tool maker and now it's their responsibility.
Okay.
We work as a team, and we know in and out, daily in and out, what is happening over there, where they have stuck up. So where they need some kind of uh, tolerance deviations or some kind of support. So it's a joint responsibility. Once the OEMs and tool makers, they will work like a joint responsibility, then definitely whatever learning we have with the overseas suppliers, that can be transferred to the domestic tool makers as well.
That's great to know that. Yeah, definitely. So, couple of more questions from my side before we can
Yeah.
start taking audience question. So, the industry has been changing continuously along with automotive industry, and that's why the kind of tools you must have used 10 years back may not be that relevant today. So with the changes happening in automotive industry like EV and the lightweighting is becoming the new buzzword, what kind of dies or tools will be in trend in going forward in coming days?
Right now, what I have been insisting to the tooling industry, that the earlier we used to sell two-wheelers in thousands, another lakhs. The one die once we made used to go up to minimum 1 million shots. But nowadays the requirements are very less. The high-end bikes, what we are targeting, so the requirement is hardly 10, 15, 20, or 50 per day kind of things. So if we and the product cycle is going short, so if we, let's say, talk about for 3-4 years, it's hardly production of 50,000 or 60,000. So I've been insisting to tooling industries, to work upon the toolings, the low cost kind of toolings, the lightweight toolings, wherein you have to, you have to come up with the multiple solutions or alternate methods, how we can do the fast toolings and with the low life kind of thing. So this is what I've been talking to them to work out how we can remove the. This is going to be
Right.
going to be in a huge demand going forward. Today, I
Right.
think
Right.
we do not have any breakthrough technology wherein we can reduce the machining time and all. But going forward, it's my personal view. If some laser technology and such kind of things can be, it's an imagination kind of thing. Then as a scope, it can remove the material. So that will be faster process and maybe a low cost solution could be.
Right. 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 So we all know that usually in the automotive OEMs or the tier one suppliers, they usually have their own captive tool rooms to fulfill their demand. So going forward, would these OEMs and tier ones will backward integrate and set up their own captive tool rooms, or encourage tool makers to enhance the capacity? So according to you, what is going to be the trend in coming days?
Personally, if you ask me, tool making is a specialized job, and it is dependent.
Right.
It is independent of any sector like automotive, white goods, electrical, etc. Business philosophies and the customer connect is totally different for
Right.
OEs and the tooling industries. So, in general, if you ask me, rather collaborating, if we, let's say, OE collaborates with the tooling industries, then as per my understanding, then it will be tooling industries will lose their diversification, their competences and all. So as per my understanding, if it is supported by any OEMs, it may limit their freedoms, their competencies, because they will be backed by any particular industries, and then their mindset will also going to be that in that particular segment.
Right.
So likewise, the OEMs focus on their core business, and so the tool maker should also enhance their capabilities by dealing with the variety of products, designs, and the customers.
Right.
In
Right.
addition to this, as I also mentioned, that tool maker must start focusing on the global customers to get new exposures, right? And India can become a tooling hub for the world, like Korea, Taiwan, and China used to be earlier.
Good. That's nice to hear. One last question from my side. Since you interact with a lot of tool makers and overseas and Indians, my last question is like, what are your those 4 or 5 suggestions, key suggestions to the Indian tool makers in order to become, a tooling hub?
First of all, they should I should encourage them that the Indian tool makers, they are very good tool makers, and they should be very confident to go outside the India. Only the suggestion is that they should target that their first time component should be made okay. They should target the 100% accurate component in first trial itself.
Right.
I met many of the tool suppliers when I talk what about the first sample. They proudly says it's a 95% meet the dimensions, 90% meet the dimensions. So I always ask, why not 100%? Why don't you target for the 100%? You should target first sample should be 100% okay dimensionally, because the more trials you will do, the second trial, the third trials, it will eat away your profit, not the OEM's profit, because the cost is fixed. So you have to target the part should be okay in one shot. That will be then it will be a profitable business for the tool makers. And with this kind of confidence, you can go anywhere in the world. That yes, we are producing the part that is okay in one shot. Second thing, the normal timelines which the tool maker gives for the development of tool, as per my experience, it's little higher, on higher side.
Okay.
But people who knows me, I push a lot. So we have set an examples by developing the very complex tool in a very limited period. With this local tooling and local manufacturer only. And once they have produced, when they have manufactured that mold in that particular limited time, and they also feel confident that yes, we can do it. So I'm saying you people are, you have very good knowledge. We have very good skilled manpower. Only we have to enhance their capabilities to bring up to the international levels. And only one thing which I personally, till date, I feel our tool manufacturer, once there is a change, there is a engineering changes comes, they are very hesitant to do the changes. Welding is one thing which Indian tool maker, they are afraid to do on the cavities. While I saw these Korean experts, they they can do welding anywhere, A-class area, class area. They do the etching also. You will not find so any difference between the welded and non-welded area. This skill set, I think Indian tooling industries, they are missing. We are missing that. So they do the welding for a large area with a quite thickness of, let's say, personally, I know up to 20 millimeter. That is in to A-class area, and that mold is running. It has produced more than 1 million shot. I don't know why these people try proper welding methods. This will also sometimes give confidence to the OEs. Yes, because nowadays products, once we kick off the toolings, after 3 months some new products comes, then marketing and the teams, they demand something, some change. So it's sometimes it's a limitation to ask for a change, though we do not prefer change in between. But because of this VUCA world, where every day there is a new change, or every day there is a new technology, we are bound to do changes, and we should be ready and capable to deliver that.
Right.
But yes, of course, I can say the future of Indian tooling industry is going to be very bright.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Viren. Thank you so much for sharing your information and insights with us, and also encouraging the Indian tool makers to make India a tooling powerhouse of the world. And also, it was very nice to hear that user industry like Hero MotoCorp is willing to uplift the condition of Indian tool makers and want to work closely with Indian tool makers to enhance their technical capabilities. Nice to know that. So now with that, let's take some questions from the audience. We have first question from Mr. Gopala Krishnan. He says the customers are becoming more and more choosy, whether it is aesthetics or new and latest features. So how is market leader like Hero in two-wheelers planning to cope with these challenges? Do you expect the volume to come down from the earlier few million to only 1 million? So that means more different tools for different models. Also, how do you see the role of aluminum as a tooling mold insert, not as a prototype, but as a viable alternative to tool steel?
Yeah, that's what I personally looking for, because as I mentioned, there are products which which will be in demand, let's say 10 or 20 vehicles per day. For those kind of toolings, we do not need a hard tools. We do not need steel tools. And I think working for the industries, they can plan in a such way, they can propose offers that let them make a tool, let them maintain the tool, let them supply the parts also. This model can also be working models, because if you produce the aluminum tool and you give that aluminum tool to other users, that user may not be properly use that tool, and it will go under frequent breakdowns. So but yes, I'm in. We are ready to use those kind of soft tools which can produce, lesser quantities.
Right. So now there is another question from Mr. Siraz. He asks, what will be the role of die casting when it comes to EV?
I think it's a conversion kind of thing, though in the EV die casting parts, it's not like it is going to be zero. It is going to be a little bit reduced. But going forward, the trend I can see now, the swing arms are being made in the castings. Some partially frames are also being made in the castings to reduce the overall motorcycle weight and all. So it's a one thing changing into another. It's not like die casting business is going to be reduced. It is converging into the different kind of products. In EV also, there are a lot many aluminum casting parts are there. It's a structural parts. It's a part of a hub and partially of the motor as well.
Right. Question from Mr. Ashish Bansali. He says, what percent of dies are procured? What percent of die casting dies are procured from India? As far as I know, 60% dies are procured from overseas customer. This is at regarding the Hero's procurement.
Frankly speaking, I will not able to tell you the current percentage wise, but yes, as I mentioned, our target is to produce as local as much as possible. But again, it depends on the local tool makers' competencies.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kushal Beda asks, what is the scope and support expected from the 3D rapid prototyping agencies for OEMs or tool makers?
Frankly speaking, personally, I explored this potential. I was in opinion to, produce the production level parts with the 3D prototyping for the low volume kind of models. We tried to explore this with one or two 3D printer suppliers, but the limitation of size and the surface finish, we but yes, yes, some is having a using the mass production kind of parts with the prototyping. We are happy with.
Okay, nice. Question from Mr. Venugopal: is Hero tied up with the NTTF Tool Room Institute?
No, I don't remember that any kind of tie-up with NTTF. If it's there, right. It's not in my knowledge.
Again, a question from... Okay. Yeah. A question from Mr. Gopalakrishnan. From your experience, which of the most important material specification which are the most important material specification, the design, tool development, heat treatment, that decides the ultimate performance of the tool from the above, which are the first in your priority list?
If you ask me, one is the designing tool design, and then of course the manufacturing and material. These are, if you you have the good tool design, selection of material is good, and the manufacturing capabilities are there, then there should not be any issue. We have made many molds which have crossed more than 3 million shots also.
That's great. So design is the utmost priority for you, and then comes the production and the materials. Okay. Yeah. There's a question from Mr. Nadir Khan. So what type of artificial intelligence are using in China, Korea, and country?
It's not only China and Korea, and here in India also. We have a smart tooling mechanism also, wherein if there is any variation in the cutter's dimension or anything, any data feed is not giving that particular desired results, or even it is not giving up to the mark whatever has been fed. So those data are being captured by this artificial intelligence, by the programs. And there is a system which give indication to the user that this particular parameter is not working as per the setting. So those things, it's a minor things. Sometimes we ignore, or in the normal course of action, we we do not take care of that. But that slowly leads to compromise with the accuracies, whether it's a life of cutter, whether it's a efficiency of machine. So those things are being captured, documented, and based on that, there are systems, either they are correcting themselves, or they are letting you know with the different graphs or different data then where you have to focus.
Right.
So
Right. So another question from Mr. Sharad. Looking after the bike life cycle, does it really require hardened steel and high hard steels? OEM tech teams always ask for high hard steel, which is making the tool costly.
no. So it depends. It depends. Whenever we order the tool, or any OEM orders the tool, we know the life of that particular products, and based on that only we ask to select the tool steel. It's not always we ask for high hard, depending on the total number of shots you have to produce. So we work with the normal 28 to 32 HRC. Sometimes we ask for 38 to 40 HRC, depending on the requirement. And
Right.
even sometimes we have made the molds with the MS also, depending on the requirement. So if somebody is always asking for a particular steel, I think it's not a good practice. Definitely, as mentioned, it is going to increase the cost.
Okay. Okay. Right. So there is question from Mr. Thiru. Sir, for low volume plastic mold, whether aluminium can be used for core and cavity, please suggest. Is aluminium is already been used?
I have seen the molds running in mass production, but not in India, in Europe somewhere. And that mold was running from last 5 years, but the number of shots was limited. But mold was maintained by the same house which were doing the production. So people are using the aluminum tools also. But the use of those kind of tools have to be very careful. It should not be like that we should use them as a normal tool. Then it will become a difficult, or you can say it will immediately stop production if something went wrong with them.
Right. A question from Mr. Venugopal. Is there some unique tooling best practices found overseas?
Yes, as far as my knowledge is concerned, they are more dependent on the machines. They use a very small cutters. I have seen the cutter with a diameter of 0.2 millimeter, 0.3 millimeter working in the tooling industries commonly. So they avoid manual intervention. They try to finish most of the things on the machine itself.
Right.
I remember we made 7 duplicate molds together for one components. And when we received the sample, they forgot to mark the mold number. And for people like us who were at that time on the daily in out of the tooling, it was very difficult for us to identify the different cavities. Normally, you look at the product component, you can identify this is made with a different cavity. So those kind of accuracies or repeatability they have.
Right. So there's a question from Mr. Prasad, and we have time for only a couple of questions now. What are the factors that are keeping Indian tool makers away from lightning tools?
Yeah, I think very good questions, because first of all, I 2 days before I met one of the largest tool maker in India, the owner of the largest tool maker of India. I was discussing with him also. The one thing is that lighting is one thing which goes for a performance testing, as a complete unit. So what happens for a tool maker? It's a tool, but for a part
Right.
supplier, it's a complete assembly unit which have to be regulated by the government, and also it has to perform, as per the lighting standard requirement.
Right, right.
So why Indian tool maker afraid of making lighting tools? Let's say they know how to make the molds, they can make the molds, but once parts assembled, the light assembled, and the desired output is doesn't come, then there's a question, because the product designer or the designer of the light will say it's an issue of mold, and the mold makers, then they will not be able to identify what kind of issue,
Right.
because those tool makers are not the lighting experts. So that is the one hitch which I can see, and that's why I mentioned in my discussions. So let's start with the duplication. We should not try with the new designs. We can start with the duplications wherein the lighting outputs are already exist, the lightings are there. So those in the duplication know-how have already achieved. So that can be started with the duplication of work. This is the only thing wherein our local domestic toolmaker industries, they need support to overcome from this issue also. Second thing is that going forward, lightings are also going to be technological advanced,
Right.
and the accuracy required for producing components like light guides, the DRLs and all, it's need very high accuracy, which need high speed machines, very small cutters, because they will not allow any radius, at the bends. So and that also need very highly precision. There is polishing as well, because little deflection, or you can say little deformation on the part, will change the entire light output. So that's why the lighting toolings are critical.
Right, right. Right. So that's the end of questions from audience as well. There is one question if you would like to answer. Last question I'm taking. This is from Mr.
Okay.
Siraj. What will your average life expectation from a lighting tool as well as from the other tools for the plastic parts?
Frankly speaking, we consider as a minimum 1 million shots, right?
Okay.
But depending on the model requirement, if the requirement is not high, then we are okay with the 5 lakhs a lot. But as a standard practice, we ask minimum 1 million shots, and which we have been achieving since long.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking all these questions and enlightening
Thank
us
you.
with your insights. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Parveen Satija, EC member of Tagma India, to give a vote of thanks to the audience. Over to you, Mr. Satija.
Thank you very much, Nishant.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Virendra ji. It's a wonderful, it's wonderful to have you. Virendra ji, thank you very much for this very, very enriched interaction you have shared with us all. The audience being very rich from the tooling background, I believe they'll be very happy to have heard a lot from you. The information you've shared is very, very useful, and it reflects your experience in the industry, your enriched experience in the industry. Sharing about the shorter PLCs of the products coming in,
and the requirements of the molds accordingly. This should motivate our tool rooms to develop price-sensitive tooling commensurate with your expectations as regards to the life of the tooling as well. And I believe they have to be swifter to meet the very fast changing models with new models coming in very frequently. Sharing about the machining skills also, you went to the micro level of mentioning about the end mills. Once again, that reflects to the extent you've gone into the manufacturing and where you expect every one of us to be, upgrade our skills to meet the requirements of the tooling, which are, I would say that we still lag a lot as with reference to the international tooling from Korea or from Taiwan or from Japan, because they look into such micro details, which sometimes we end up omitting. We have our own ways of addressing machining requirements. You talked about the lighting. Lighting has evolved a lot, and with the kind of two-wheelers coming up, lighting is going to evolve much more. It will not be just lighting. It will be
lighting,
it will be a status symbol. It will be reflecting the taste, one's taste in a vehicle. It is just not lighting. It will be much more than lighting. We have artificial intelligence which will come in. I mean, there is a lot to interact, on lighting. And next 5 years, we'll see a sea change, as you touched upon, and you try to express on the kind of machining requirements as well. That all evolves towards the quality of lighting we'd be looking forward to in the next few years. I would say that the time we have allocated for this interaction is very less. We should request your participation for a longer time. This interaction just started and has ended. I think there is a lot more to learn from you, sir. So we request you to be back once again, and I am confident that the audience will come back with more deeper questions, because they have understood where you come from. So look forward to having you again, Virendra. And thank you very, very much for making this happen on behalf of all of us here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Viren, for sharing your information. And as Mr. Praveen Satija said, that we need to interact more and learn from your expertise. You can guide us, the industry people. So that's why we have many forums where you could participate and probably share your information with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks to audience who have joined us today. And to inform you all, TAGMA is organizing the 12th edition of Diamond India Show, which is scheduled to take place in Mumbai from April 27 to 30. So please mark your calendar, visit the show and make best of the exhibition. You will definitely see what is happening in the world of tooling there. So I invite you all on behalf of TAGMA management to the exhibition. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Viren, and thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.